Around the Table with Vickie. Just like gathering around the dinner table with loved ones and friends, we're here to share stories, insight, and inspiration. Hi, everyone. We've just finished up 3 exciting portions of our talk about entrepreneurship and faith in business. We've talked about how Brian and I met and all the journey of all the different assisted living homes that we've developed over the last 32 years, and we've talked about the journey being really portioned in faith. So you don't want to miss this last episode where we talk about our 2017 opening of Pearls of Life, and we ended up with some deep discussion about faith.
Mom, you talked a little bit about a world without walls, and I know you reference that all the time. Tell me a little bit about the design features, because I know there's some really special things in Liberty Ridge that you brought to life.
Well, when your dad came and told me the size of the building, it was very daunting, and I knew that we had to have non-billable space in there, which not a lot of companies would even agree with us on, because we're not making money off of the space that we've created something in, and so they just wouldn't do it. But for me, again, just like Smith Mountain Lake, I wanted to create a world without walls. I wanted those grandchildren to want to come in and spend time with their grandchildren, with their grandparents, because so much of what the seniors go through is that disconnect from their families. So once they get placed, there's this element of disconnection that they feel, which then creates anxiety and depression. So that's what we're trying to keep from happening. They've got enough problems with their aging problems, their heart, diabetes, broken hip, broken, knee replacements, all the things that goes on with aging. They don't need to feel like they're disconnected from their family. So how do we create a home? And this was something that we at the dinner table talked about all the time during those years that people really want to be in. We talked about the bakery, that the kids could go to the bakery with their grandparents and get a fresh donut, which happened. We created a duck pin bowling alley in there that we were told the first one on the East Coast inside a senior living community.
But you got to tell them how we got the duck pin. That's the big deal.
From what was a cruise ship that we were on, and we had so much
Back
fun
to one
on
of our
it.
travels.
Yeah, one of our
trips,
travels.
man.
We said we got to have that for the seniors. They've got to be able to experience this too. And 10 years later, there's just as much bowling going on as there was 10 years ago.
That's right.
So it has never gone old. And then we created a little pinball machine, games inside there, arcade area. We actually call that room the boardwalk. Because again, we're going to the oceans, and that's where all the stuff happens, is on the boardwalk when we go traveling. And so we named it the boardwalk, and it's so fun to go in and see the seniors bowling and the little grandchildren in the room playing the pinball machines and the different paddle ball things that we have going on up there. We've changed through the years to kind of keep up with time. But that was a great addition to Liberty Ridge. We have a wonderful movie theater up there that was so important to us because we also wanted Liberty to maybe come over and do some plays in there. We wanted to connect again. It's so important to connect.
The movie theater is fantastic. It sits about 35, 40 people. Yeah. I remember in the early days when it first opened, we actually went up there and we watched the Super Bowl
with them,
with the residents right there in that space. And that was always a great memory for me.
Yeah. And then we have a pub upstairs that those that, want to go and play cards and just be together, that seats about 35 or 40 as well. Then we have a beautiful hair salon, which was really super important to me.
It's bougie.
It is bougie.
It's bougie.
And there's a place in there for pedicures, manicures, and all the things that women love. We have a library.
Did Dad just use the word bougie?
I did. I thought that was impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive, honey. And then we have a library that for 10 years we've been collecting books from the outside community, and we just had to have a sale the other day because we had too many books.
The library's
so
beautiful.
10 years, and we have computers in there that they can get on and connect with people. It's all about connecting in there. We have a Pratt Chapel. We have a Pratt Chapel pretty much in the last 3 facilities, and so that's where we go and we play games. We hear church services. They're doing all kinds of small groups in there, and that seats about 75 as well. There's lots of common areas throughout the facility that just connect each other together, which I'm super proud of that building. Very much. It was a lot of fun to design it. One of my favorite stories, though, Brian, goes back to the first 5 years that Liberty Ridge was in existence, somewhere around year 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. the admissions gal brought a couple to us and introduced us, and it was Wayne Wingfield. And if you'll help me with the story as we go along here, we felt compelled as a couple to jump in and help him. We never really understood why. His wife was needing memory care, and he lived in independent living.
But when they came in, they were both at Liberty Ridge. And back when we were in school, Mr. Wingfield's daughter, Beth, was in the same years that we were there. So I knew her from school. And then when her dad came up from North Carolina, he's been a missionary his whole life. And they both came together. And about halfway through their stay, she got worse with her dementia and had to move across the street to the Pros of Life building. And he was always faithful, going across the street every day for all the meals and back and forth. So he would go over there, take care of her, make sure she got in bed, make sure she ate. And then when he came back, he would have a sort of a second life there with his other friends and do other kinds of things and sort of get some kind of break from that. But he was so faithful to her when she was with him in the Ridge, and then when she moved across the street, he was always there. But not just that, he also had a passion to see people come to Christ.
Yeah, but during their time, it became evident to us that it was going to be really hard on them financially for her to be in memory care and him have to pay an independent living rate as well. So we just felt led by the Lord to just let him stay there at a very discounted
rate. Well, he was
rate.
actually going to move out because he couldn't afford both. His plan was to move out and to let her stay there because she needed the care, and he didn't.
And we didn't understand why the Lord was leading us to discount his rate so much, but we knew it was the right thing to do. Looking back now, one of our favorite stories is to tell this story because he ended up being our missionary inside that facility. And there was there were so many stories of him leading people to Christ on their deathbeds and ministering to people during the time of the last days of a resident there. He would always go being like our pastor. Yeah. He would go visit, make sure they were right, and they knew where they were going when they took their last breath. That was his mission. He was very evident that he was called to do that to us. We just felt like that's what he was, that's why he had been placed with us. Yeah. And so there was one story, if you'll remember, that he had to call us about. And he said, "You'll never believe it. Brian and Vickie, you'll never forget it. I'll never forget it." And he said, "You just won't believe this." He said there was an atheist that lived in the home, and he just wouldn't have anything to do with religion, wouldn't have anything to do with the Lord, didn't want to talk about where he was going to go if he died. And Wayne went up as he was taking his...
No, he actually called for Wayne.
Okay, he called for Wayne.
He had no interest in that, but Wayne stood for what he believed in, and he knew that. And when it came time where I think it was his last day was alive, he called for Wayne, asked Wayne to pray with him, and he accepted Christ. And that was an atheist. And I can recall where that happened twice. I would hate to even say how many souls that he saw saved there. That was his mission field. Not only did he do that, he did all of our chapel services. He was in charge of the Sunday morning services. And he also went when they were in the hospital, and he would go see them. So he was and he was not just ours, but he was everybody's pastor. He was a really, really special person.
You remember when your mother passed, and he was right beside us, and when my aunt passed, and he was the first one in the hallway. Yeah. So there's been some special people that really came into our lives to teach us a lesson. And I would say the lesson that we learned there is to always listen to God. If he tells you to do something in your business, even though it didn't make sense, it didn't make sense for us to give that much money away and not collect it. But it made sense once we realized what the Lord was calling us to do. That's one of the most just stories that just I will never forget.
Well, we
counted.
We all get those crowns in heavens whenever to be honest with you, we didn't charge him. Yeah. At a certain point, we just said, listen, if you become chaplain, you can stay here for free. Just keep doing what you're doing. But the countless souls that he had saved by us making that work for him, it wasn't about the money. It was about the greater calling.
That's right.
And I think that's where he made a difference. And there's been a few people like that has really made a difference. Like, for example, Ruth Hall was somebody else that we had that came in as a charter member with Mom, and she would welcome everybody. And she started her own little thrift shop. I mean,
she did.
Gave
and
money
she was
to
able
Alzheimer's.
to give thousands of dollars through that little thrift store right there in Liberty Ridge. You remember that, Christopher used to say, I can't believe we have to do all this, because we were advertising for them and doing so much to get it off the ground. And when she passed away, it was thousands of dollars.
Oh, it's been a great thing.
Yeah, that she had given to the Alzheimer's Association.
Yes. And it raised thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's
I think it just goes to show that when they get inside of a senior living community, that life doesn't have to stop, that we're still called to continue on. And so many of them have just enhanced our lives so much, and so proud.
And I know I brought that up before, but I truly believe that for me, the honor to have my mom stay there, because, again, she worked tirelessly taking care of my dad and became very dependent on her in his later days. But she loved every minute that she was there. I just wish that she would have had more time for that, to see her enjoy that thoroughly, meet all the kinds of new people that she met, and be outgoing. It was really did my heart well to see your family member benefiting from something that you worked so hard to make happen for other people, seeing the same response and the same benefit within your own family.
Well, I know we bring up Wayne, but I can tell you, growing up for the last 32 years, there's a whole lot more stories other than just Wayne, where I know you two have made the decision to maybe not collect the funds. And maybe that's not the right business decision to make, but at the end of the day, it made an eternal difference. And I know that, there's hundreds of stories that I know you guys probably won't say. So I just wanted to make sure that the listeners know that that's your heartbeat. That's what you both are about. And, that's the other side of everything that we do. I just know how big of a ministry that, towards the end of life, and we allow a lot of different churches. That's the other calling to what we do, is the ministry aspect of it as well.
That's right. That's right. So when you're given that many lives to take care of, and it's your responsibility, and we talk about, last couple episodes, we talked about how heavy that job is at times. All you can do is lean into your faith and realize that God calls you to do what you're doing for a reason. And it's not up to us to decide whether we say we will or won't do as he leads us to do. It's just simply for us to say yes. And I think our story has been one of yes to everything. Every door that's open has been yes. I remember a couple years ago I had a dream, and you guys know that I'll hear things in my dreams, right? And it was right before we were to take another step of faith. And I remember I was woke up in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and all I heard was the word more. It was just the word more. And I remember saying to you, did you wake up and say something to me? And he said, no.
I think you were dreaming, but you swore that
it was
you
a
heard
verbal
that, yes.
more. And looking back, I know now what that meant. I was... I wasn't at the point where I needed to stop, and now looking back at the extra things that came into our lives, it was the Lord telling me there was more to come, and I just had to be willing to do that. If you're willing, He will lead every single time, no matter what business you're in. If you're willing and you'll follow, He will lead. If you're willing and you follow, He will lead.
And He will bring the resources, the people, surround you with the right people to make that. Because sometimes you think, man, I'm so out of my league with this.
Yeah, and looking back, there was so many times. That's why this show is called Around the Table, because as a young girl living in the world of men, entrepreneurs, you weren't always with me. It was me walking in the room lots of times by myself. And you're already at a disadvantage for being a woman in a man's world. And there were so many tables that literally I did not have a seat at, but I made my own. And everybody has the opportunity to do that in their lives, whether it's business, family life. Like, you have the power to create that seat at your table. And one of the things I've tried to do over the last 32 years is to give back to You know, when somebody does come in, you don't deny access, because when there wasn't a seat at the table and I made my own, it's much easier when somebody pulls one out for you. And we've mapped out a few people in our lives that pull that seat out for us. But the rooms that you're in, the people that God puts you in touch with, the seat that you're sitting, they're all preordained in this business world that we're in. And how wonderful it has been today to reflect. I'm proud of you, babe, for coming on.
And it twists my arm, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's really great to just reminisce about, because sometimes you lose track of what the journey involved. You don't really realize all the milestones that were made and all the decisions that went into stuff, and all the times that you really just had to go by faith. And people oftentimes look at stuff and think, well, that's all good. It's been an easy road. It's just happened. It really hasn't. It's been struggles at times. It's been hard roads to go on. It's not always, you maybe see the glitz and glamour and all that stuff, but it's way more than of the other side where you're working through things.
Well, there's been a lot of sacrifices that this family has made, specifically with time. You know, we've given up time that we would be doing other things to grow this business here in this local community. And you mentioned earlier that we had opportunities to expand outside of this community, and because of our family life and our already time constraint, we chose to choose family. And we're so blessed to have 3 adult children that work alongside of us in everything that we do. And couldn't be more proud of them as well.
It's a true blessing.
To bring up your statement of more real quick, I know that, sometimes as an entrepreneur, that can be a daunting word to hear, right? You're already making a lot of sacrifice. You're giving up a lot of time, a lot of things to worry about. I can truly say, though, I've always seen God provide in those moments, back to blessings being challenges. I think it's always incredible to sit back and where's this key staff member going to come from? It's always fun to sit back and look. And I've always said, if we ever go, why is this person in our life, or where did they come from, or it doesn't quite make sense for them to be on our team, I always sit back, and it's always been fun to watch, because almost inevitably God is sending that right person to fill the void or fill the need for future growth before we even realize it.
Yeah, I always say that the God in the good times is still the God in the bad times. And the God of the mountains is the God in the valleys. And we've seen that throughout our business, that just at the time we think, oh gosh, then he sends somebody or he does something. It's just one miracle right after the other. Some days it's fun to just come to work and see him work. And you're like, I don't know how this happened, Mom, but here's your candidate for the new position. And that's just so true. And that, again, is just being on the path, the right path.
Well, we touched on all the buildings. There's one other building. There's still another building we have to briefly discuss, and that's our brand new cutting edge memory care facility called Pearls of Life that you guys developed in 2017?
17,
right. And the word Pearls of Life, the name came to me years and years and years ago, and I always really wanted to use it because the Alzheimer's population, is, they're in this shell, kind of like a clam, and the pearls are in the clam shell, and when you pull out, when you reach and open up that clam, there's this beautiful, beautiful pearl. And it's the same thing with an Alzheimer's mind, that the ugly shell that they're in with the disease, that inside, there's this beautiful pearl. And so that's why we named it the Pearls of Life, because as you start to understand Alzheimer's and dementia and what it does to families as much as the resident themselves, it is one of the 6, it's the 6th leading cause of death in America. And we still just can't seem to find a cure. And so, we raise money every year just locally here that stays in our chapter, our local community chapter. But, on a more global scale, what the next 10 years, it's really scary as to what this disease is doing to our geriatric population. And we see it happening more and more with younger people as well. So that's what that home was built for. It's got beautiful colors. It's everything is intentional in there. We have life skills rooms, which, encompasses an old-timey farmhouse kitchen and that with a washer and dryer and an old-timey refrigerator. They actually get in there and put their eggs and they put their clothes and they're simulating what their life used to be. And they haven't forgotten what life used to be like. They just don't know where they are now or what life's going to be in the future. But they remember what they did yesterday, long time ago. And then for the men, we have all the branches of the military suits that we've put on mannequins. So some of them have been in the Marines, the Army, the Air Force. Your papa's uniform is replicated in there. We have an old antique American flag, a train track that goes through mountains on the scenery of the wall. And we've really tried to attach the word innovative to that facility. And those that come through here in the local area are just blown away. 2 of your sensory rooms are in that facility, Up, and Away, which is a hot air balloon that we simulate rising and floating over the top. With so many stories, the residents will say, I used to live there, or there's my neighbor's car. We actually see the rooms working. That technology works. And if it just takes the edge off for just a little while, then our job has been done. We have another rainforest sensory room that you created that I can hear residents say, I hope there's no snakes in there. It's really real to them, and it works. All of this truly works. And so we just had a team of people be alongside of us through all this development. Great IT guys. I know your team is amazing that just gets together with us on a project, and they're looking cross-eyed after I give them their mission. But at the end of the day, we've created something beautiful for some beautiful people.
Well, guys, Dad, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Maybe I'll do it again. You never know.
I hope you do.
We hope you do.
If you ask me, maybe I'll come back. Thanks.
This has been a really fun journey. You guys, I probably have had the best seat to the entire story, being the oldest child. So I just want to tell you both, I'm extremely proud. It's been fun to sit back and watch and see the growth and, just some key words of faith and family and entrepreneurship. Passion is a strong word. I couldn't be more proud. So well done. Looking into the future, though, I know you're not ready to stop. What do you think the next 5 to 10 years maybe looks like?
Well, I think in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll be unveiling a new facility right here in this area. And so we can't talk much about it right now. But
You heard it here, folks.
Heard it here first.
I heard it here first.
Stay tuned, right?
Super excited about that, welcoming some new folks into the Runkin Pratt family that will be able to serve us here in the area. Really, really exciting. Another one of God's wonderful miracles, blessings that He's just laid in our laps over the last couple months, and it's been fun to be on that part of our lives right now. It seems like, every 4 or 5 years we keep introducing more beds into our family, which is just more of a opportunity to serve.
All right. Well, Mom, as we wrap up the show, I know you have prepared a quote for us. So if you share that with us, I know everybody would love to hear it.
When your head hits the pillow tonight, remind yourself that you've done a good job. Be patient with yourself and remember that big things are achieved not all at once, but one day at a time. And I think that over the last couple episodes, I hope that you see that this was a not all at once moment for us. It's been a long road of faithfulness and so many exciting things. Can't wait to see you next time.